Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com, and in today's video I just want to show you how easy it is for you to install these metal balusters to your railing. We've got a couple other videos that'll show you how we installed the posts and the handrails and the bottom shoe mold. This video here will solely focus on the balusters. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, click the thumbs up. Let's take a look. Okay, so our kind of our pattern we're going to have is we're going to have one of these double style balusters like that, and then we're going to have two singles on each side of it, sort of thing, and it'll just continue on like that. So there'll be two here, two over on that side. So it's a little bit more messing around to figure out than if I just had all these the same style, but not really a huge deal. So normally if you had all the same style, what you don't want to have is more than 4 inches between them by code. So generally you're shooting for 4 inches center to center or less, and you want to try to get them to balance out so it looks proper. Now, getting it to balance out so your end spaces are similar to what your spaces in here are is a lot easier when you're using all the same type of baluster. So in our case, it's going to be a little bit off, but it's going to be real close. And it's just because it's hard to make it work when you've got this other style thrown in the mix. So basically what you want to start out by doing is measuring the total width you have and dividing it by the spacing that you'd like to go for. So I usually just use 4 as my number. And from there you'll be able to determine if like how many spaces you're going to have. And let's just say you've got well, let's just do this one. If we were going to use all the same balusters, this is 44 inches. And if we were going to use 4, we divide that by 44 as 11 spaces. Okay? So usually what I would do, because this one happened to work out exact, it wouldn't matter, but let's just say it worked out to 11 and 11.6 spaces. So we'd round that up to 12. So then you take your 44 divided by 12, I don't know, whatever the math is for that, like 3.5, let's just say, probably 3 3/4. That would be the space center to center that you would use, okay? I can't really do that system because of the way these work out. So I've already kind of pre-figured it out, and I know that I'm going to measure from the center of these ones. I wanted to shoot for about 6 inches to the center of this next single beside it. So in the end anyways, what I ended up coming out with is basically 6 inches worked out between this wide one and the single, and 4 1/8 inches worked out on the little ones. In my situation, everyone's going to be different depending on the space you have there and the type of rail you're using. But anyways, so you've got to figure out your spacing and to get it all marked out here at the bottom. Now with these ones, because they screw on, I also made up some templates that I can put along here and pre-drill my screw holes once I have the locations figured out. If you have this type of railing or this type of baluster and it doesn't have the screw-on spindles, it's just the rod, you're likely going to have either a groove in here that they'll slide into and little fillet wooden pieces will fit between, or you might have holes that you've got to drill, and you pop these all together. Like I said, with mine it's screws, so we've got to kind of lay it all out before we can put them in place. I like to put some tape on here just because it's easier to write on and peel off if you screw something up, and it's just easier to see. So in my layout on this side, I basically have like I said, I've got it marked out here on the floor ahead of time, but my first small baluster is going to be right there. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 smalls, a large on each side, and then 2 smalls again on this short section. Okay, so I know I've got one there. I'm going to mark this out with my tape for all the spaces that I had. And then I can go along with my jig, you'll see, and mark it all out. Just take me a minute to mark this out. Oh no, that's the wrong. It's easy to get mixed up on this, so especially when you got 2 different things going on. That'll be the 6-inch. Yeah, because this one here is going to be the big baluster, the double wide one. And this was going to be the big one. Ah, geez, I keep messing up. Yeah, so I got 2 bigs on this side, and yeah, 6 small guys, so just about got it. Okay, so I'll just square these off. And I put that tape about in the middle of the width of my posts because I know that I'm going to have the balusters centered on the post width, because the handrail and everything's centered on that. So this bottom shoe molding is wider, obviously you can see, so I can't center the balusters on it. Okay, so like I said, this location and this location are going to be the double wide guys, these ones. Those are going to be there, and all the other locations are going to be the singles. So I've got 2 different templates, and this one here. Yeah, this one here is going to be this one. So like I said, I just want to go along and pre-drill all my holes because it's going to make it easier to drive in these little wee screws that they give with it if I have it pre-drilled, and I'm not just trying to drive those into the wood. So now that I've got my spacing all lined up, I should just double check that the end here is, these 2 are equal. Yeah. So it should all look reasonably equal when I'm done. Okay, so I'll pre-drill my holes. Okay, so that has the bottom done, which will make it a lot easier to get my screws started. Now for the top, I should put some tape on it, the underside of the handrail. So I can mark on that. I need to plumb up one of these locations, so I can transfer that up here. Should be right there. My eyes are getting old. Okay, so that was this one. So those are my 2 singles. So now I just got to do the same thing again across the top, mark out my locations, and use my other jig and pre-drill the holes. So I'll do that here quickly. It's really more about figuring out your layout and getting it marked out and ready than it is anything. Okay, so I want to use this jig now. And the only reason I've got to change jigs is because my handrail, like you can see on this side, is set in. It's not flush to the outside of the post. like this is down here. So the way my jig was set up is that I'm running along here and setting my distance inward. So I've got to make a little shorter, a little narrower jig in order to do that for up here, that's all. So I'll drill these out and then we'll be ready to start putting some in. So I've got those all drilled. I can pull that tape off now. So, with any luck at all, these fit between here. Get it lined up roughly in the right location. Now, I would also normally stain this all before I put these in. So I'll probably be removing these after we do the video so that it can get stained, but we need to figure out a stain color first. And I wanted to shoot the video while we were doing all the rest today, so simply just put the screws in, nothing to it. Okay, so I'm just going to continue on doing that all the way along. Also, one thing I wanted to do, because of the style of these screw down balusters, and they've got the big foot on the bottom. In an earlier video where you can see me build the railings and everything, I mentioned that I want to put a couple screws into the floor, and that'll be good because I can actually hide it underneath the foot of this. I don't have the screws sitting here with me, and like I said, I'm going to pull these out after anyways to do the staining, but I'll just remember to drill in a couple spots along the bottom plate here. You might have even seen it moving here a little bit because I've only got it brad nailed in place just to keep it in position. So now you can't always do that, but if you had a dado down here and didn't have these screw-on plates, you could hide the screws in there as well. So with this one, too much talking, not enough thinking. Let's put the right one in the right spot here. Okay. I should have opened all these screws ahead of time. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get these all in, and it's really just as easy as what you're seeing me do here. Okay, so it really is just as easy as that. There's not a whole lot to it. Even with the ones that don't screw in, it's really not a whole lot different. And sometime if I get a chance to do one of them, I will post a video on that style as well. You might have noticed I didn't put all the screws in because, like I said, I'm going to be taking these out to do the staining. But I wanted to give you the right effect of what's going on here. So you can see we don't want to have 4 inches in between them, so we're just borderline on what is allowed, so worked out just right. So it's a little different pattern. It's kind of nice when they mix up the different styles. There's tons of different styles of them, and this kind of all works nice with the straight lines and styling that's going on in this renovation. So hopefully that gave you some insight on, you know, how to install these or something similar. And between the video showing how to install these newel posts and install all the railings and everything, and now the balusters, you should be able to do your own railings. All right. Well, I appreciate that you watched. Smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. And as usual, we'll have links in the description. We'll probably maybe even throw these balusters in the description for links, and Facebook, Patreon, those sorts of things that we always have in there. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.